Sometimes you see a resurgence in a hero's usage in games like Marvel Rivals after they receive direct buffs that enhance their kits, but other times it's actually because the environment around the character shifts, and that's most certainly the case here with Magik in Season 5 of Marvel Rivals. There's a lot of fun gameplay in this video. There's even a full match in here where I did not get a single assisted KO. Every single kill was a final hit. It's like I said in my original Magik guide, Ileana doesn't just start fights, she finishes them. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why you should be revisiting Magik this season and tapping into her explosive potential. So let's get into it. First off, let's real quick mention the last time Magik got buffed, just in case you haven't played her in a little while, maybe a little over a season. So at the beginning of last season, Magik had her team up anchor removed, and so she had her damage buffed to compensate for that loss. But there were also two buffs that I really want to dial in on real quick. First, they reduced the amount of time it takes to fully charge her Magik slash attack by just over half a second. So now, it only takes 1.2 seconds to fully charge that attack for the maximum, roughly 100 damage. It's weird to me that they still haven't updated those numbers, by the way, on the Marvel Rivals wiki yet, for the record. So don't always take those numbers at face value. Always check the patch notes and hero balance posts from MarvelRivals.com for definitive information. But anyway, this buff made a huge difference in Magik's ability to both brawl and generate big chunks of bonus HP with her passive ability, because we're eliminating a lot of the downtime that happens with, when you're just charging up that attack. So cutting that attack down by half a second, it basically removes all that downtime that you can receive damage without generating bonus HP with your passive ability in return. So that was a big buff. But there was a second buff related to Magik's slash attack that's actually quite big. They added two new effects to the projectile itself, so now it pierces enemies, meaning it can go through several enemies at once if they're lined up, and you'll see me do that plenty in the background gameplay. But the second new effect is that every time you hit an enemy with the Magik slash projectile, you will shave a full second off of your stepping disc cooldown. So if your attack pierces an enemy and it hits a second one, well then you just cut 2 seconds off of your next stepping disc. So one of the big things that did is it made it so that throwing in these Magik slashes, just without even fully charging them up, just since it's on like a 6-second cooldown, you can just in the middle of a big team brawl, just chuck one of these things out if you need more survivability, if you need to refresh those stepping discs so you can queue up some of your other actions. But there's also an implied effect here that we can't overlook, and that's the simple fact that the more enemies your attack hits, the more bonus HP you're going to get. That's Magik's passive ability. As she does damage, she generates armor for herself. So in this attack here, for example, I end up hitting multiple enemies with one Magik slash as it cuts through the crowd, and I end up with 81 bonus HP for the fight. That's a huge chunk of bonus HP for that fight. So this buff directly translates just to more survivability twofold. Once, by dramatically increasing the number of stepping discs we can use in a brawl, and second, by increasing the amount of bonus HP we are receiving for those attacks. So those are the biggest buffs that she's received recently, but let's look at the total landscape around her and how that has changed, and how those changes increase her potency in the current meta. Let's start with the tanks. So Vanguards overall got some really nice buffs this season. We'll talk about that in my next video I plan to. But it means that we're seeing several of these tanks more in particular. So we're getting more Pennies, we're getting more Magnetos, and we're getting more Groots in particular than usual. So most people think of Magik as a backline diver, and she does do that quite well, but she's a lot more than just that, and this is actually a good thing for her to have these tanks in play. So these tanks are big, they're pretty slow overall, and Magik directly counters their best assets. So let's talk about Penny first. I'm seeing so many Pennies right now, it's annoying, but Magik can easily destroy Penny nests, especially if she approaches them from above. But your demon spawn, they can't be targeted by Penny's spider bots, meaning you can toss your demon spawn out next to her nest, and then you can teleport away or use your Umbral Incursion to get away to avoid the damage of the nest, and your demon will stay there and it'll just slash away at that nest and destroy it for you. It'll take the nest down to just barely being alive at all, and then you can just chuck in an extra attack to finish it off. But just remember, your demon has a reach of 6.5 meters. Okay, 6.5 meters. So you don't have to get right up next to the nest. In fact, I don't recommend that you do get too close to the nest itself, because Penny, they usually put mines around the nest to protect it. So you don't want to like dive on the nest and then just immediately blow up, right? But once the nest is down, Penny is no longer going to have the benefits of her new buff. Okay, her new buff this season gives her the ability to heal allies that are inside her nest's webbing, and it grants them healing over time and bonus HP. So all of those benefits are off the table if you take down that nest. Now let's talk about Groot. Magik has always been a great counter for Groot because of her demon spawn. So when he puts his walls up, we can use a stepping disc and put a demon spawn in front of the wall to absolutely shred it. Look how fast this thing goes down. Like, it's just a non-issue. We just stand next to our demon spawn and then we attack the wall alongside them, and the wall drops lightning fast. And this is even really good for taking down his ironwood wall. So a lot of times Groots will throw that ironwood wall up in your face to block off, to slow your team's approach. But if you put a demon spawn on it and you start damaging it, even if it's just you doing the damage to the wall, it goes down relatively quickly, considering how much HP it has. Most heroes would just chip away at this. Like poke heroes, no shot, sorry. But Magik can take it down pretty quickly. But once the walls are dealt with, Groot is movable again, and he can be popped up with your Umbral Incursion dash. Not to mention, he's extremely slow, meaning you can put the demon spawn on him in a duel and deal extra damage to him while the demon generates bonus HP for you with every single hit that it does on him. Last up for the tanks, I want to talk about Magneto. So Mags are feeling kind of invincible this season with the rework to Magneto's Bulwark shields. So NetEase made it so that he doesn't have to choose whether to shield himself or an ally anymore, as those two things are now on completely separate cooldowns from one another. So he can shield both an ally and himself at the same time if he wants to, or he can stagger them, whatever. Either way, he's putting double the amount of shields in play as he normally, was. But there was a bit of a trade-off here, and the trade-off is that the shield took a 50 HP hit, and now it can be broken more easily. And that's where Magik steps in. Again, it's all about the proper usage of her demon spawn ability. The Bulwark shields can be absolutely shredded by Magik. Normally, you're not going to do enough damage to break the bubble. You just have to wait for it to go away. Not the case with Magik. I mean, look at this. I recommend really focusing on the Mag himself in these brawls. This will make him focus on you and not on his teammates, which means he's less likely to actively shield his teammates when they need it, and that creates opportunities and openings for your allies. But in your duel with him, he will most certainly shield himself with his bubble shield while you attack him. And that's when you teleport, preferably through him, and pull a 180 and put that demon spawn behind him or on him in general in such a way that the demon spawn is going to be attacking his Bulwark shield. Then you go right back into melee weaving with your primary attack, and look how quickly the shield drops. It's barely even there at all, right? And then we just go right into our Umbral Incursion combos, things like that. But most Mags will instinctively, once you break their bubble, their instincts will take over and they'll put up that shield curtain. And that's free damage for you because your melees go right through it. It does him no good at all against a Magik because all of your attacks are melee coded, and you'll generate even more bonus HP while he's just standing there with his useless shield. I feel like this is a good time to remind you that Magik's demon spawn, guys, it does just over 300 damage, okay? No, I'm not lying. I think too many Magics rely on the Eldritch Whirl far too much, and they cheat themselves out of a mountain of potential damage. There are definitely times to use the Whirl for sure, but in single target brawls, that demon spawn is going to be a massive game changer, so leverage it, use it. All right, let's chat real fast about healers. These are some of your primary targets as Magik. Good news, 4 of Magik's favorite targets just got buffed and are seeing more playtime. So Adam Warlocks are everywhere now, and Magik bullies the ever-living crap out of Adam Warlock. Like, mainly because he has 0 mobility, but he's got no way to avoid you. Okay, once you've baited out his soul bond, he's an easy target. He's got no defense. Cloak and Dagger just got an HP buff. Joke's on them though, because our core combo as Magik still kills them anyway. Loki got the same HP buff alongside some buffed healing output, so we're seeing more Lokis, but Magik shreds Loki. Her wide sweeping attacks make his invisibility useless, when you're already like right on top of him and he pops his invisibility. Unlike Invisible Woman, when he activates invisibility, he doesn't like jump away. He's still right there. So your wide sweeping attack's just going to knock him right out of his invisibility and neutralize that ability right from the rip. And then when he uses his runes to offset your dive, you just use a stepping disc and line up your demon spawn to hit the crystal or the crystals if they're close to one another, and it breaks them almost immediately. You can see here, right here. Plus, you just baited out his most useful team heal ability and you neutralized it, so that's a huge deal. And then finally, Invisible Woman got a bunch of buffs. But again, her new ability to shield herself is immediately neutralized by your demon spawn, which chops that thing to pieces. You just put the demon spawn right on the shield and it's cooked. But then she's gonna use her double jump, right, to go invisible to avoid your dive. But her footsteps give her away. They're so loud that you can get into her neighborhood very easily. And then you just want to use an Eldritch Whirl to hit her out of her invisibility with ease. But anyways, let's wrap this up, shall we? Last thing I'll mention is we have a lot of poke this season. Lots of Hellas, lots of Hawkeyes out there. They're pretty easy dives for a good Magik, to be honest. It's all about knowing what abilities to bait out, right? You're trying to bait out the bird form. You're trying to bait out Hawkeye's Katana Slash that knocks you back. Once you get those things off the table, that's when you activate your core combos. But all in all, Magik is a seriously strong brawler. She's got better sustainability in big brawls than she used to. She's got a more target-rich environment now, full of enemies that she can counter, and her damage output is greater than it was on launch. It's just a good season to be Magik. So take her for a spin. Remember that I have a full guide for Magik up on the channel. It's one of the most viewed Magik guides on all of YouTube. And if you want to use her in ranked play, I also have a second guide for more advanced tactics that I use with her specifically in a more competitive environment. Thanks so much for all the love and support on the channel recently. I'm so happy to have found a home for my content with Marvel Rivals right now, and I'm looking forward to making more guides and videos very, very soon. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.